Welcome, welcome, welcome to the 5D Collective. The 5D frequency is for the individual and individuals, mystics or not, who are their whole self. So you will have your first year, 3 year old, your child parts, they're all gathered together. No fragments, none of the battles, narratives, none of that. Okay, so we're going to begin with the channeled messages, and then we're going to continue chit-chatting. And that's because for my regular viewers and listeners, they've been waiting. With or without you, I can live with or without you. And you can because you are your own lover and beloved, because that human gift is about you recognizing that beyond death and life is the capacity for you to expand your own consciousness and to be able, and yes, grace, well, resplendent with grace. For some of you might be a different way of using the words, but you surge on the uprising wave of love because you know that you are the one who shows yourself the way because of the all-encompassing hand of your capacity to use left and right. I'm not kidding right now. So for every thought and every emotion, you know that it's beautiful to be you, and that your inner child will always want to be held, and that you can be your own safe haven, secure base when you do not have people who hold you in the safe haven, secure base. So healthy adults, we are self-attuning, self-soothing, self-accountable, self-regulating in mannerisms that involve love, compassion. The securely attached person has oxytocin gene hormone. Our funny bone keeps on getting more and more amazing by the day. So you're young at heart. Playfulness is the feminine of you. The strategic capacity of your mind to work as an integrated brain with restorative embodiment is because you're self-aware, accountable, regulating, and living mindfulness, day-to-day practices, and spirituality, a life of meaning and connection beyond the soul self. So whenever we have the energies come around, you're not in the human suffering love narrative, you're in the human love narrative. And that's the 5D collective here at IHP that will resonate with what I'm going to be channeling. Okay, so I'm going to pause this just for 1 second. We are going to integrate some quotes in a minute, but I'll start with the channeled guidance messages. So I have my lovely paper. I do everything off screen. There's those who do it on screen. I need to get a bigger setup, and I haven't had the time yet. We'll wait for that one. But I also do enjoy my time with this lovely sphere, so I can't say that I would want to be recorded while I'm writing and while I'm channeling, although I do foresee that that might change as we build a community and have live on YouTube and stuff like that. Okay, so the Star of Creation, Earth Walk. Okay, your third eye and your Earth Star. You have released fear, anxiety, or pain around trusting the Earth, which is really good. That is why you are awakened to all of you, all of the parts of yourself. They're one. Now, that doesn't mean you're completely done. Some of you have a longer journey with your therapist, and you add mindfulness and spirituality, living and loving, and that's why it's a collaborative effort. Any empowered person and any practitioner who cares, from the holistic sphere, spirituality or not, mindfulness or not, we will work with smart people who are the sciences, because they know more about your brain than I ever will, no matter how many hours of education or certificates I will get. I'm not the expert of neuroscience, but I know them. And that's why I know also the experts of the therapy people, the neurobiology, neuroscience, mental health. So one is Carolyn Lyons Ruth, PhD. Here's where she shares how, and this is from NICABM, in our earliest moments we learn the language of emotion, a dialogue between mother and child. Without genuine emotional connection, communication falters. And the quote is that in infancy, the first language that we speak is the language of affect, the language the mother and the infant speak together. If you don't have real affective signals between the two, there's no affective communication. So see, that word is hard for me to embody, the knowledge of it, because I can't make it make sense in my ears and my mouth. But I know the gist of it because I'm informed on attachment trauma. So Peter Levine, he shares all of our trauma charges that come up as the CMAB: sensations, images, affects, meanings, behavior. And here's where I'm understanding that lack of self-regulation and self-soothing, which is why your first 3 years, and that Robert Sapolsky with his book Determined and all the good sciences share how important it is for you to get your inner world in the forefront, like Patrick Giahan. If you have an inner child that didn't get to know soothing, safety, security, all of that, you don't know regulation, you know dysregulation. And he's still working to get rid of his regret of it's not his fault, he got unkind, he didn't get the child-centric environment. So he still makes up for when that unkindness comes up from his own nervous system. He understands how this works, which is why, as he shares, Reiki, holistic practitioners, they won't heal your inner child tendencies, which is why we have spiritual bypassers and the mantles of mental health, because people who don't want to go to Patrick Giahan and do the journey, and there's a song that keeps wanting to come through. So I'm going to pause this again to find that song. I found the song and I'm laughing right now. Okay, so we have a mix of personal development and romance going on here today, meaning those of you who have a healthy other, okay? The song is hilarious. Who knows, the Proclaimers, I'm going to be 500 miles. And so it's the song of, if you're, I'm 44, so I know this song. I also don't follow a lot of other new stuff, so I'm out of the loop sometimes with things, but let me put all that aside and just read to you the lyrics of this. So it's, when I wake up, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who wakes up next to you, right? When I go out, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. If I get drunk, well, I know I'm gonna be, you don't want to get too much drunk, but I'm gonna be the man who gets drunk next to you. That's fair and square, of course. And if I have her, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who's havering over to you. I don't know the haver word, okay? So there's my lack of vocabulary, which I'm not gonna look up right now. But then the chorus is, but I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walked 1,000 miles to fall down at your door. That's not a healthy way to live a relationship, although it's very beautiful. And I'm going to continue reading it because it had been channeled yesterday, the other day. So it is part of our channeled guidance messages for all of you. You don't have to use the man, you can use woman, they, okay? And use your capacity to understand. Here's where I'm 44. I'm in the polyamory community, and that's because I have twin flames and I have soulmates. And as a mystic, I have a relationship with my past lives, my oversoul. It's not something that is hard to explain. It's also beautiful to have and to cherish, and then to share with those who are the special someones who understand what it means for me to be able and be an Akashic record reader again, and to then be able and support and just to have a good time with spirituality and sciences coming together. Because see, the future is going to be quite simpler, and as I always have been sharing for my community, my future is going to be that which I already know life is made of. It's simple. I wake up, I have 24 hours. Hopefully I'll wake up again tomorrow, and then I get to share my life with the people who want to share by talking to me, not by being silent, by laughing with me, not by crying and being humbug and being person who doesn't know, like the Zen master, how to regulate your nervous system, when we have bigger fish, bigger picture. The bigger picture for any 5D mystic, at least, and even a Sadhguru, he's not, I don't know what words he uses others, but he cares about water, food, air, and people, and they're all together. I care about the same things, which is why it feels like a good group of us really does the same stuff, but each voice is for people for different reasons. My voice is for the people who want to be their self, and then they want to be healthy adults for themselves and others. So you don't fall at my door in a way of being lonely. You fall at my door, if you will, because you have understood with your amygdala that you enjoy, not because you need me, I don't need you, we need air, water, and food. You enjoy, your life has more smiles and heart, you see, and life. You're alive. I'm alive, I'm alive. Not those who need each other because they didn't have. It's a different story for different soul age groups. This is why I was saying organize it, have it fit, but remember that healthy adults, they one, appreciate each other, and the desire to fall at your door is not one that has a longing. It is not one of suffering. It is one of, you're a bonus, I'm a bonus, and with or without you, I can live with or without you, and I won't look in the past and think, I hope they're dying a miserable death, quote unquote, of vengeance. And this is where there are distorted feminines who actively, as we speak, look to the past and they want to be vindicated. They have 4D readers for them, and they continue to harbor resentment for men and or women at our days who didn't say yes to them, and they didn't process rejection. So they don't have compersion for those people. They want to see those people get, quote unquote, their karma, and that is an indication that they don't know how to be the star of creation or to walk this earth with the capacity to understand we all don't have complete safety, since we have people in places who are completely idiots, is how I'm going to put it, and there are people who are also idiots who follow them. And so, meantime, when I'm working, yes, I'm gonna be the man who's working hard. No, you work not hard. One, you work because you have to work. And when the money comes in for the work I do, I'll pass almost every penny on to you. No, again, no. That's distortion right here. When I come home, oh, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home to you. Okay, maybe you may. Yes, of course, but that depends. If we've decided that we want to live together, we might not want to live in the same home. And if I grow old, well, I know I'm going to be the man who's growing old with you. That's nice. You do enjoy growing old with people, but it doesn't have to be a person that you're living in the house with. You can also say, hey, let's be neighbors. That's where you, again, will choose how to build the life that you are wanting to build. And right now I'm mixing it up. So remember, we're channeling guidance. It's personal development. It's relationships. So I know how I've been building since I was a kid, my life, and I know how I want to keep moving forward, and I'm still settling in those last pieces for when I get older. And some people are like, that's too far away. Not far away. I'm 44. It's pretty close, and I still don't have all the pieces to my puzzle, but I know I'll get there. Why? Because I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the person who walked the 1,000 miles and falling at my door. The first door you fall at is your own home, which is why you build it. Solo poly is where I'm at, and it's because couple-centric is not the focus. The focus is that I'm not lonely. When I'm lonely, well, I know I'm going to be the man who's lonely without you. I don't want you to be lonely without me. I want you to be happy without me. And then I want you to be happy with me. And I want you to not be lonely like that Zen master has a hard time with his emotions, because there's mindfulness, living, and loving. I'm a practitioner, so I know how to help you know how to put it into practice. And it's your secondary consciousness that gives you a bit of a pain in the ass. You don't have to be a faith. You can be a faith. If you are a faith, then you have no issue with darkness. If you are not a faith, well, then you have sciences that tells you about dark matter, dark energy. No need to make it into drama, because you work with that 1-year-old. That's why the celestial flow of light, your heart, you have been opened up to the rest and the trust and the breath that we talk of. Your 1-year-old is whole. Your child parts are whole. You are whole. The ones who are still here right now. You feel it. You feel lightness with emotions. You know, anger, fear, sadness, happiness, disgust, surprise. They're all great. You know how to regulate and be non-reactive. That woman makes me laugh every time. She thinks that being able to show emotion is emotion. It's you being reactive in your 3-year-old. And once I've seen all your hand, lady, that's it. You're a Cusco or a squirrel or whatever it is. And you might be a, I know, I want to look that other song up, Mick Jagger. Okay, so the power, the base, you have been able to root in this expansion of your third eye and the eighth and ninth chakras. All your 7 chakras are clear, your eighth, ninth, so you are doing Dharma as we speak because you do know how to use that integrated brain, and that's because of being conscious and this uncoiled serpent, if you will, because we all have our own toroidal field. It's you having been awakened to the 5D frequency because like that arrow, you're aligned, and the jaguar, so you are the alignment of your heart and the soul. Just use all of your child parts because really that's what is going to be you. And you have your 3-year-old, he, she, they is alive, so you have the fluffiness of the young at heart. You have, in fact, the bubbly life of the young at heart. It's irresistible. You can't help it. You love to be able and have fun. So you're enjoying this newness of you, and then you're enjoying knowing that you can share that inner child adult with those of us who are just as blubbery as blubber is. Okay, that's the, we have an inner child adult heart, and so we have the feminine. We don't fear what is out there. It's not only the Amazon that is threatened, our entire planet is threatened. We are not afraid, we are understanding. It's not laundry, Zen master, it's we are consistently aware in our ventral vagal state. That's what it means to know how to self-attune, regulate, and be in your mammalian heritage. All the sciences people explain it, neuroscientists too. It's the flow state. I know it. I'm doing it right now as I also channel. And anybody who does know it, they're having a good time. Doesn't mean that we're happy about what we see. No, none of us are, but we're not doing the what bleeds, leads, news, media, which is all for people who want to be reactive still in their nervous system. They want to be like an angry dog, but while a dog knows how to handle him, her, their self, human no, because your 3-year-old is not a dog. It's an actual human being who has that implicit memory. I found it hard to believe. It ain't hard. You're dysregulated, lady. You dysregulated, man. You got shame, blame, fault all over the face of you. Because every time you speak, you're getting more idiotic as you're in love with yourself, but you're also in love with the story of not going to therapy and trying to make sure others want to be on your bandwagon. Some will go there. Like the avoidant ladies, like, oh, all people are fucked up. I don't want to do journaling, mindfulness, or meditation. I just want to stay this way. Plus, you're picking on us. There's your teenager. I want a superhero cape. I'm defending the avoidance, and we're going to stay with our suffering in our body because I don't want to take steps. And I will walk 500 miles to go to Patrick Tian and wait until I know how easy it is for me to continue to want to self-regulate, because it's nice to be a person who loves to live with others and not suffer every time you leave me or every time. So those who don't go in to get securely attached, they grow old with consistent ups and downs of their 0 to 8 year suffering life for no other reason except for human life's fucked up anyways. No, it's not. So they don't know their own jaguar, and they don't know how to self-regulate and attune and be accountable because they're choosing to use some lame ass sentence, humans are fucked up, or like the Zen master, he's got laundry, instead of put it into practice. Emotional resiliency in your prefrontal. Zen master doesn't change tomorrow, but it changes right now, and it changes your biochemistry because your thoughts are what work with the emotions that arise. So you're translating. When I'm lonely, no. When you're lonely, you get over that if you have empowered yourself. In fact, you have compassion and personal fulfillment. Your whole self is here. Again, that uncoiled serpent. Some of you might have had a Kundalini awakening and or more. Those who are feminines and in the 5D spectrum, I will say that we don't take any type of shortcut. We are aware that our oversoul will be in the relationship with us, and that everything that is going to happen has a reason. Every action has a reaction. Everything that's meant to come will come my way, meaning that we don't go out of our way to try and get ourselves awakened. The 4D collective is there because there are spiritual bypassers who, instead of going to therapy, they go and start to use identifiers like the Zen master, who isn't a Zen anything to me because he doesn't know how to act when his emotions come up in a way that is Zen. But he's a spirituality soul ager. So he's still learning about his own self through the philosophy, the concepts of spirituality, soul age group. There's a list of them. Okay, so the individuals who said they have personal fulfillment, you're compassionate, your heart, it's expanding, you're living beyond the soul self, and life's too short to hold grudges, but also to say and think that you need a person in your life. You don't. You know that the people who want to be in your life are here. So you're grounding that, your compass, that earth star, you're grounding in, I see myself, I soothe myself, I'm safe and secure as myself. I am being my true self with me. And I have flaws. I'm imperfect to the bejesus of me, but I have integrity and I have self-soothing in a healthy way. I'm not going to go shame, fuck, drink, drug, none of that. Not going to do unkind, unlawful. I'm not going to be a member that won't be in society. I want to be a person that does participate. I'm joyous. Why? Here's Sadhguru. Joy is not to be sought outside. It is intrinsic. If you do not mess up your mind, you will naturally be joyful. You learn how to use the inner growth mindset that we talk about. When unknowns, uncertainties, unexpecteds come with an open heart while going with the flow. This is where mindfulness living and spirituality living and loving, they're all going to be resonating with those of you who are whole selves. Ones who have not this, they don't. They're like, you're not right, lady. You're wrong, and it's fucking awful, and you're a toxic, positive bullshit person. Bye, have fun. Go to the lady and the gentleman over there and waste your life there, please. Thank you very much. So when I'm dreaming, well, I know I'm going to dream. I'm going to dream about the time when I'm with you. When I go out, well, I know I'm going to be the man who goes along with you. We're not always going to dream only about one person. We're also not always going to go out with the same people. And when I come home, I know I'm going to be the man who comes back home with you. That's if we decide. So your secure attachment relationships is because you decide to live together. Okay, so I'm going to be the man who's coming home with you, but I would walk 500 miles. Okay, so the man who walked 1,000 miles to fall down at your door. It's a beautiful image, but remember that doesn't always take place, especially because most people, they do all this stuff with a longing. At least my 44 years of life, I know that it's going to be different now because people have the good therapists that tell them how to learn to love their self first. And that will make you the ideal partner, because that's the only time you're going to be ideal for anyone, if you know how to love yourself first and if you know how to calibrate your nervous system in the way that we talk about. And here's where the other song, Young at Heart, I've got you under my skin also. So we're going to do Young at Heart first. Fairy tales can come true. They can happen to you if you're young at heart. For it's hard, you will find to be narrow of mind if you're young at heart. So when you have flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable brain, that's integrated. And that's why you can be accountable, again, regulating, and you're able to see, soothe, and keep yourself safe to be all of you. This new cycle that you're grounding in, there's no more self-doubt. There's no more self-sabotage. There's no more self-confusion, okay? You are an arrow that is a straight shooter as the lover and the beloved of you and other. Again, I'm still integrating this how I do channeled guidance, okay? Just wait till the end. You can listen to it again. Let me grab. I want to read to all the lover and the beloved, because not all of you were here yesterday or in the recent days. And it's really beautiful for those who didn't hear it to hear it. And when you move beyond consciousness, you caress the beloved. When you move into the unknown, beyond everything, the beloved caresses you. It is not enough to love me. I want you to allow me to love you. It is not enough to desire me, to want to be closer to me. I want to reach out to you and grab a hold of you, drawing you into me and never letting you be apart from me again. There is so much more for us to experience, you and me, than simply gazing, even with love, at each other from a distance. Let me take you into my arms. Let me hold you until we cease to know or care where you and I once were you and I, for instead we will be one. Will you allow it? Will you allow me? Will you allow us to be? And it's where our lovely universe, God, source is all and beyond. Basically, you want to understand this for you, FYI, talking to the person who's watching me. not for other. Right now, I'm just talking to you in your own heart. Are you lonesome tonight? Do you miss me tonight? You don't have that long. You have an awareness that's your 1-year-old. Every mammal, that's what we are, wants to attach to one person. This is a good thing. Means you care about people. You don't have to feel it like if it's taken away. I remember from my polyamory community, that's why Jessica Fern informs us of that primal attachment panic. I didn't have it this exaggerated way that I know others can have had it. But that's because I'm a twin. I consistently shared my mother with a twin. I'm determined. In fact, I only had her for my own self for 1 month, and then I became Grumpy Bear. And she thinks I'm holding it against her. I'm not holding it against her anything, but I'm sure my face went, now I don't have you for myself. I don't understand this. So, long story short, though, I'm saying determined means something because our biology stays with us, implicit memory. So your 3-year-old, she, he, they is there. It's not going anywhere, but you can learn to master being a grown-up version, which is why fairy tales can come true. It can happen to you, yes. You learn how to have fun. And how you can go to extremes with impossible schemes. You can laugh when your dreams fall apart at the seams because they don't really fall apart. There's no detours in a way of destroying. The only destroyers, masculines and distorted feminines. But masculines are not destroyers once they become feminines, like our lovely Sadhguru. He's a masculine with a feminine. Or that rabbi, and that's because they connect to source and then they share their wisdom and, stuff like that. And as a feminine, I will say I like being a feminine because it isn't wine, Sadhguru. It's something stupid. Strangers in the Night, and Non Dimenticar. It's those are the 3 songs. The something stupid. I know I have a chance, and that tune. It's not the words as much as the tune, but being connected to source. It has everything from that tune to Flubber to I've Got You Under My Skin, where you just can feel complete oneness with life. And so when you have that with someone, it's undescribable, but it's something that you will be able to replicate even in the absence of that someone. Obviously, two's a tango for a reason, you know what I mean? And masculine and feminine, they complement. There's no way in hell that you will be the embodiment of the wholeness of pure consciousness in the absence of your masculine. That's how I'm going to say it. But that's for another time. Let me count the ways I love thee. And it's perfection and it's pure life and love in essence, but in form, thanks to those who are able to maintain their state of self because they own their sense of self, and therefore you are your own lover and beloved. So you will have the ecstasy and the bliss of life within every single one of the inches of your bones when you have restorative embodiment and you're self-aware, accountable, and regulating the way we talk about here. But you do this every time there's a stubbed toe, and the Zen master doesn't do it, okay? So you are being asked and or you are embodying that passionate desire for you to love you, to touch you, to make the divine presence known to you so that you will cease to fear the darkness, take delight in all of life, and become mesmerized by the beauty of love in its endless emanations. When you have achieved this as a human being on your own, then you will know of what I feel inside and Sadhguru, and you will have your own words for it. And that's where I'm going to put this one to the side, although the human gift card calls to me a little bit, but not for today and not right now. Okay, let's see, Young at Heart. We're going to finish looking at this song. So the dreams falling apart, it's more of like when Sadhguru says, if you enjoy what you're doing, you can fall and you'll keep doing it again and again. The ones who don't, and they say, I don't want to do it anymore. Or basically they find some other people to follow. That's, again, their path. For us, the very purpose of life is to experience life in its fullest depth and dimension, which is what you are getting to do within yourself. And now that's where you're also going to have that match. And that's because of the smart scientists out there, besides those who are the 5D frequency mystics meaning the people who have been bringing individuals to lead with their own self and to understand unconditional love. There's many voices out there. I don't know all of them, but I know there are others who have the capacity to help every person to be their own self with flaws and integrity, and to have unconditional love. To be able to be a consistent contingent communicator, as you are your own flag and your own flag post, and that wind, whenever it comes, even though it may throw you left and right, it's like the ocean. So the wind is your thoughts, the ocean is your emotions, and you can wield your thoughts and your emotions because you're the owner of you. Use your human name. And you're an open heart and an open mind and an open gut, and it's healthy adults. So you know how I've got you under my skin. And we're going to read that one out so you know the bubbly life of the young at heart, and that it is irresistible to be around those who are in this frequency, because safe haven, secure-based people are fun. And they are true partners, true lovers, and true friends, because they're not in a relationship with you out of the longing to fill their lonely. Are you lonely tonight? Do you miss me tonight? Da, 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 da. So they're not suffering life. When someone's suffering life, they want a hit. And they don't have a hit that is addictive. They just have a hit. I don't do drugs, but I can only imagine how awful it is to be dependent on something that basically is putting holes in your brain, not to mention not doing anything good for you. And in the meantime, you could do an evolutionary shift from the former self to the new self, water, by learning how to be a straight shooter with your own thoughts and go to therapy and get out of all of that shitty business. And once you have embodied your whole self, again, self empowerment is what it feels like. And so you don't need a hit of me to have a beautiful day. You have a hit of your own 24 hours because you are choosing with your own self-fulfilled. Life is not going to have more or less meaning. I'm giving it, I'm taking it. My emotions are ruled by my biochemistry. If I'm learning how to be a aware person with mindfulness, spirituality, living and loving practices, yoga, all of that, good therapy, I'm going to be able and fulfill getting to enjoy every single day of my life. That's what the bright sides of neuroplasticity shows. Integration of the brain shows you can heal. And every person who has had childhood developmental trauma, what has been shown by the data, this is Dr. Daniel Siegel, is that they don't need the drugs. If they commit to good therapy and to themselves, they will in time, because your brain's an organ. I'm going to use my scoliosis like an example. So I had the honor to visit with a good doctor. I love people, but I actually went and gave a side hug, since I know some people, they don't like hugs, but he was so beautiful. I couldn't resist. So I found the opportunity and I kind of like, oh, can I hug you? And he allowed it. But he loves what he does. And you could tell that he knew what he was talking about because I was listening to him. Plus, I'm 44. I had scoliosis since I was 8. So I've been around doctors. And I've had different osteopaths and physical therapists. And I care about my back because one of my osteopaths, he scared me. He didn't do it to be mean, even though some would think. But that's where he has unresolved trauma. We're going to leave it alone. So I told this doctor about the maneuver that doctor did, because if there's one doctor and one thing that really, the panic attacks are not fun, but this thing that this doctor did made me cry. Like, it was something that I hadn't ever experienced. Like, it was awful. And so when I was leaving, I asked him not to do it, and he got infuriated, his ego. And again, I'm pretty sure that's how his own household handled him. It's the only reason a human being, doctor, grown man would do that, like a woman too. So you don't know regulation. Okay, but wait, before I tell the story, don't you know that it's worth every treasure on earth to be young at heart? For as rich as you are, it's much better by far. Yes, so when you maintain the essence, emotional spark, the social engagement, novelty, and then creative expression, that's when you're in that integrated brain. So you own your 1-year-old, your 3-year-old. Okay, so when you are owning all your child parts with all the attachment trauma information, and you know how to self-attune and regulate, and you're expanding your window of tolerance to window welcome, and you're doing all of it, and you're welcoming yourself. This is why, and if you should survive to 105, look at all you'll derive out of being alive. And here's the best part: you have a head start if you are among the very young at heart. And if you should survive, so he repeats it, you'll do okay. So yeah, when you have this adolescent essence and your whole 3-year-old, you're going to grow old. Not only are you going to grow old with health, because that's the other stuff that the studies show, that neuroscientists, the bright sides of neuroplasticity, when you are healed and healing, so sensory motor, somatics, child parts work, EMDR. And again, as Dr. Daniel Siegel presents, every person, it's been shown they're going to keep accumulating data, but the ones who have had childhood developmental trauma, they work well with therapy and mindfulness, yoga, all that, and doing a journey until they're ready to, be that whole self, and to know self-attuning, regulation. But the ones who need the medication are the ones that they will spot, and they don't have the childhood developmental trauma. Their studies are still building. This is why some people are afraid of mindfulness, because they can tell that there's the ones who are afraid of the new data, they're not as well informed. That's what I have spotted. They're not informed. They don't want to be informed because they don't like yoga. They don't like mindfulness. They don't like all that is coming together and showing that we can heal personality disorders. They have a skewed agenda, quote unquote. It's a bias, really, and that is they don't believe in humanity and our biology. And they want to keep on comparing sciences and spirituality versus allowing themselves to become one, more aware and knowledgeable. Okay, so luckily we're in a different era again, and there's enough years of information online for those of us who care about humanity to say, what are you talking about? And it's both groups. So the ones who don't want sciences and spirituality to come together, they're afraid of everything that is new, but they're afraid because they're judging it as bad based on ancient history. They're basing it on ignorance and on, I don't like polyamory people. I don't like pronouns. I don't like that yoga is trending. I don't like that yoga and Reiki is trending. I'm going to go and decide to make it. This is the saddest thing, is the lack of interest in humanity. When the theologian went on, whoever it is, to say, let me write about Reiki and make it into evil energy, wow. You are not only egoic, you don't care about humanity, you also have not considered this an entire heritage. For you don't own Holy Spirit or energy. What the fuck is your issue? You don't think, do you? Because you're so one focused, that's why you're disconnected from pure consciousness. You're using one side of your brain, and that other side is like, I don't like it. It's not mine. It's not part of my in-group. Because you're not part of my in-group Reiki, I'm going to go. That's the little child in there, which doesn't even have anything to do with the little child. It's a distorted self with someone from home or whoever knows. It's a 14-month-old who's whining about something implicitly. And I'm going to go about my business. I'm motivated. This is why, again, the masking, they don't fight. That's a coward's game. What you do, dismantling an entire heritage for your don't liking it. My agenda is you can be yourself, pretty straightforward. Then my agenda is we all have different ways that we connect to God, Akash, call it whatever words you want. The fact that you don't know how to share the floor is telling me that you don't know how to be a whole 3-year-old heart. That's how I can bring forth the analysis. And in fact, the capacity for you to do what you've done, I can do it too. I can go and build my breadcrumbs of trails. Intelligence spots the breadcrumb, because again, ego is blind when it's all by itself, and when you got something motivating it, like or dislike. I know what I like love, but I can also tell you I don't need to have love. I could put shame in it. I can put anything you want. I can create a contour with any data that you give me, because I'm not picking based on what I like or don't like. I know how to handle my 3-year-old feelings and my 14-month, and it's not an in or out group. We're all humans. It's called, I have a subjective experience, so do you. There you go. Data, what data? You want gravity? Because I'm going to go grab you the quantitative data. If you're going to want to bring me some, I don't even do any of this, by the way, because that's my point. It's reasonable. And it's really ridiculous when people do this kind of stuff because it's not interesting. As we conclude, those are all side notes. Let's use those last two songs. So, Moves Like Jagger is the one about Mick Jagger. You shoot for the stars if it feels right, and in for my heart if you feel like can take me away and make it okay. I swear I'll behave. That's so Maroon 5. You can look at that one up if you want. Not all the lyrics. Again, the songs come to me for the music and then some of the lyrics. Others will tell you to pay a lot more attention. But I also don't want to say that there's not more behind the lyrics, but I would have to sit with them, write them down, and then I could channel for our community, which I might do at some point, because definitely this one has relatedness to what we were talking about when people are liking or disliking. So here, you wanted control, sure we waited, I put on a show, now I make it. You say I'm a kid, my ego is big, I don't give a shit, and it goes like this. So when people are the teenage version of themselves, and I say this because they're not a teenager, the adaptive child part, they're not a whole self. They're still with self-doubt. They're still longing to be famous. And so that 4D, 3D collective is there for the ones who don't want to get healed, because navigating life from the self-aware, accountable, regulating, as I just told you, I can build a breadcrumb of trails with anything I want. All I need to do is start reading it. I can organize it. That's what I loved my academia. I would go back, but I don't want to. I'm doing exactly what I wanted to do, which is to help people to be their self from the heart, and then to help you understand discernment only can come if you're an independent thinker. If you have an idol, my idol is God and Jesus, and really I don't think of it as idol. It's more of, I learned the basics of what it is to be a person. I was a child, I grew up with God, Jesus showed me the way, so I can break it down with different words. And in fact, words don't mean to me anything except for I need to use it to convey a message. I don't own words and this is the better word, this is a word. It'll sound, the sound is what catches me. And then if I have to argue with someone, it's because they don't like that I want to use words differently. And I'm already bored with even having to explain it, because it's like, come on, just give it a break, left brain. Go and be friends with your right brain and then come back and have a good time with me. That's why masculines, we don't like them when they are not. They're feminine. And then when we have distorted feminines, we don't like them either, because they're not fun. They come and ruin our castles just because they don't know how to play with what they like and don't like grown-ups with their brain and their mind and their embodied brain, which is why I go to Patrick Teahan, so you can get out of the unkind business and then come have fun with the emotional, mental, and physical grown-ups who are still children, but we're just grown-ups now. So this Mick Jagger, I'm going to say, baby, it's hard and it feels like you're broken and scarred. Nothing feels right, but when you're with me, I make you believe that I've got the key. Those are all the ones who need someone else outside of them, and that's the part about lust and lacking and that 1-year-old. So some people, they will create relationships based on that feeling, and they're going to continue to do that because also they can make the narrative work. Okay, so for us, true connections, they happen with people who are the true self. They're open-hearted, they love to love, live, and laugh. You're young at heart, and that essence of yourself is alive. That's why you're a life partner who can love, live, and laugh with all of those who come around. You also are aware of how to not use that narrative, because the narrative is where the people who have the inner critic and outer critic, okay? So there was an episode we had on that one. If you want, look it up here. True lovers and partners are people who own the sense of self and lead with an open heart, no narratives, which actually might be the title of this one. And we'll conclude with the I've got you under my skin. So I've got you deep in the heart of me, so deep in my heart that you're really a part of me. And I've got you under my skin. I tried so not to give in. I said to myself, this affair will never go so well, but why should I try to resist when, baby, I know so well I've got you under my skin. I'd sacrifice anything, come what might, for the sake of having you near, in spite of a warning voice that comes in and repeats in my ear. So here we got a person who obviously, again, doesn't have the sense of safety. And don't you know, you fool, you never can win. So there's an inner critic right now, self-doubt. I won't keep the girl, I won't keep the guy, I won't keep. That's your insecurity. It's silliness, because you always win love when you love yourself first, and then you know that somebody makes your life worth more, and you with them. But even without each other, you can live, because you can breathe, drink, and eat, and you understand this with fulfillment. This is that 1-year-old who says, of course I'm going to share life with another, but my mind isn't going to make up stories that I can't take a risk or a shot because I won't make it. That's all teenager talk. Drama talk. When I say teenager, it's people who are not going to Patrick Tiahan or Terry Real to learn to love their self first. 5D collective, people who love their self first. Integrity, flaws, securely attached, you know how to use your mentality. Wake up to reality. But each time that I do, just the thought of you makes me stop before I begin, because I've got you under my skin. So again, there's a person who doesn't believe in themselves in this song, but then again, they are also saying, I love you to death and I can't get rid of you, quote unquote, meaning that you're part of me. And that's why when you are whole and a true lover, life's too short to spend it with those who do not choose to live relationships with their own authentic self. And that's for the ones who need first therapy, then they can come back around, and then they will also enjoy each other a lot more. Okay, so we are grounding in the capacity to be both our own lover and beloved, as well as the lover and beloved of another for my monoamory, of another's for my polyamory. And please do keep in mind, secure attachment, anyone is grounded in the capacity to understand we have unlimited love, but we have limited time. And so there's ideal partners with secure attachment relationships. That means you and I talk about the logistics and we decide the future and we grow old together. Secure connections means that we have established and or will establish a consistent interaction, and then that is you play it by the tango partner at hand. Doesn't mean that you're fucking people. That's where some people are gray asexual. They don't want to have sex with anyone. And really, I'm going to say it's because the younger generation knows very well about the sense of self thanks to smart attachment trauma experts. I'm very honored and happy to be here with the younger generation that I talk to adults, but still, as somebody who can bring forth, I've always lived with a healthy sense of self. Teenage boyfriend stories, you all know about it. I didn't judge that person or my friends. They're characterological stuff. I didn't say they're bad people. In fact, I wanted to stay friends with my boyfriend and his partner of now. They chose no. And I didn't have society that was open-minded to saying they shared life together. Of course they're going to stay family. No, I had people who were completely, and to this day, they're still closed-minded. I don't follow the crowd because Maria loves those people the same way I did when I was a kid. In fact, she gave me one of the most amazing gifts. I'll never forget that day. It was a day where I was able to understand something about this thing that the universe does. But for another time, long story short, it's because I didn't hold back. And it's because I never said we're not a connection because of what happened. This is what is defined as a healthy other by the smart scientists. By those who are ignorant and want to live out the yesterday's era, they continue to talk about people in ways that to me is unlike what the 5D frequency is. So those who love with their eyes, they say goodbye. Those who love with heart and soul, they don't know separation. The two people are part of my oversoul, and I was honored when I got the gift, and it made me really happy. What other people say with their limited consciousness, it's theirs, not mine. So other people will live their life, Cusco's, not Cusco's, but for those of us here, true lovers and partners, people who own the sense of self, we lead with an open heart, and we don't have narratives. We have subjective experiences, and then we know that life is, again, too short to spend it with people who don't know how to truly love and how to come and be mindfully and spiritually alive, and with laughing and love and laughter again and again. Giggly, iggly, iggly. We'll be back with more. Again, Michael Jordan. Some people want it to happen, some wish it would happen, others make it happen. Be yourself. Show yourself, no, be yourself with integrity and flaws, and then have fun Am I not decent enough to be saluted? Not about decency. So we'll be back with more. Have a good one.